For each cell loops allow us to examine individual cells in a range of cells. You can see the basic syntax here. Down below we have a formula, yellow count of, and it gives a range, E16 through G21. Here it's returned 7. Let's go take a look at that to understand better how the for each cell loops work. Here, receiving that information is RNG, it could be anything, as a range though. So we're receiving a range of cells here, and we're defining CNT as a long integer, cell as a range as well. Note that the cell is created as a range. It could be any name, we just gave it the name cell. And then we say for each cell in this range up above, then do something, and then go to the next cell. What are we doing? We're looking at the cell's interior color index and see if it's equal to 6, which is the index for yellow. If it is, then we add 1 to CNT, to our count. Finally, when we're all done, we set the yellow count to CNT. This is nice because we can pass it any number of cells, any range that we want, and have it examine each cell individually and collect information from those cells. Let's discuss using the on-air statement. An on-air statement basically tells you that if you run into an error in your code, then you would like the computer to do something. It may be just to ignore that error and keep going, or it can do something else. For example, if I have this function here, range name, and I give it a range of cells, in this first one, I give it the range D14. Well, if I look here, that has the named value hours. And so it returns that no problem. But in the second one, data 2 does not have a name, and it returns an error because there is no name. If I use the on-air resume statement, then if there's an error here in red, I added these two statements, resume the next command. So if there's an error in this third one, it would resume, otherwise it will go ahead and return the name. Well, data 3 has the name mine, but data 4 doesn't have a name, and so because it had an error here, it just went and said, well, range name equals no range. Let's try that once more. Why don't you play with this function and find the name of the group of cells in the box on the right? Although we won't take time in class, you may also want to learn from the following tabs.